Hello everyone, it's Evie here, and today I'm talking about the importance of communication. And I think we all know how important it is to talk to the people in our lives, to have healthy relationships with our family members, our friends, our coworkers, our significant others. And often we just don't talk as effectively as we could to each other. And sometimes it's out of fear that, oh, I don't want to cause drama, so I'm not going to say anything. But it can be hurtful to us. It can really hurt us if we just don't say anything about things that are important to us. And sometimes, let's say you have a crush on somebody and you want to tell them how you feel, but you're afraid to. And I think this is a situation a lot of us can relate to. But let's say you're flirting with this person and trying to make it obvious and like wanting them to make a move so you don't have to because it's a scary thing. But you have to tell them because otherwise they're not going to know. I mean, you can say, oh, I touched their arm flirtatiously, so it should be really obvious that I like this person. But it might not be. To them, maybe you were just being friendly, and they might not know. I mean, we're not mind readers. I don't know anybody who's a mind reader. I think that would be pretty cool, but no, we're not mind readers, and we need to talk to each other to know how we're feeling. So if you have a crush on somebody, you have to tell that person, hey, I have feelings for you, and have a conversation about what that means for your relationship, potentially. Or maybe they don't feel the same way, or maybe they don't want a relationship. And by talking about it, you'll know. You'll stop driving yourself crazy about this and wondering because you'll have said something and you'll know. And that's a big thing, about communication, that when we talk about things, we get the answers that we need to hear rather than spending all of this time feeling anxious and wondering, you know? We can know how somebody feels about us because we've talked to them. We talk to each other. Or we can know what's going right in our relationships because we're talking about it. Or we can say, you know what, I feel bad when you talk to me like this. Like, it doesn't make me feel good. And we can have this respectful conversation and try to get to a place where we can feel better about our relationship instead of letting that thing fester within us and thinking about how, oh, this thing bothers me. It bothers me when this person does that. Well, do they know that it bothers you? Because if they don't know, they might not be doing it on purpose, but if they don't know that it bothers you, they're just going to keep doing it because they have no idea. And if they were to find out, if you were to tell them, maybe they'll stop and things can get better. But on the other hand, maybe they won't. Maybe they won't care. And you'll find out and you can move on. You can release that relationship if that's what serves you. And it's so important that we talk to each other in any aspect of our lives. How are we feeling about different things? If I stress myself out about certain things that I don't need to stress myself out about. So I talk about it. This is what makes me anxious. It can be a really simple thing, or like, I don't like coconut, and telling somebody that so they don't bring you anything with coconut in it. And it can be that simple. We can talk about simple things, yeah. And that can be important because food is important. I like food. I think I'm a little hungry right now. But it's so important because, like I said, we're not mind readers. And if you don't tell me you don't like coconut, and I bring you coconut, please don't get upset with me for bringing you coconut because I didn't know. But if you tell me, like, hey, I don't like this, I won't bring it to you anymore because I care. I'm not going to be the type of person to be like, well, too bad, you know? And sometimes we say things playfully and somebody might take it literally and get upset. And that's when you need to have a conversation about that and say, I was a little upset when you said, well, too bad to me. I thought maybe you didn't care. And maybe the person is just being playful about it. And that's when you talk and say, oh, well, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. I was just being playful and I didn't mean any harm. And okay, there we go, problem solved. We can solve so many issues in our lives and our relationships if we just talk to each other and tell each other how we feel, how we perceive things. And it can make a huge difference for our own happiness, for our well-being, our peace of mind. And a lot of times we cast it aside because we're afraid, because we don't want to cause issues. And it can be a big thing when it comes to talking to our parents. I mean, that can be pretty scary, and saying like, Mom, I get anxious about this because I'm afraid that you're going to make a comment, and when you make these comments, I feel bad. And it can be scary because, like, that's my mom, and I don't want to upset her, and I don't want her to feel like, oh, she's a bad mother, because she's a great mom, and I love her so much. And I'm not talking about anything specific, and, like, if I have an issue, I would just tell her, but it can be hard, like, when it comes to telling your parents things that like, if you are upset about something, and you might feel nervous to tell them, because sometimes parents, it seems like our parents don't get it, but they get more than we know. Like, they were young ones too, and it's okay to talk to them. And I definitely know, like, my mom wants me to talk to her, that parents do want their kids to talk to them, and it can feel hard for us to talk to our parents, to say, like, this is how I feel, because parents are like the authority symbol that we like have to look up to them. We have to do what they say, and yeah, to an extent we do. Like, they're our parents, and like, I mean, I'm an adult, so I don't necessarily have to follow every strict rule and do my chores or anything like that. But like, if it comes down to saying, this is how I feel, or like, if you say something like this, I feel bad, as scary as it might be, it's something that needs to be talked about. That maybe your parents aren't aware that they're making you feel this way. And odds are, once they know, they might stop. They might be like, I'm sorry that I made you feel this way, and how can I make things better? And you can have that conversation, but it's starting that dialogue and getting the ball rolling about how you're feeling and how can we make things better. And that's the hurdle to get over. And it's so important. It's so important to talk about these things, to talk about how we feel, and we can have better lives for it. We can be happier for it. We can feel closer and more connected to the people in our lives if we just talk to them and talk about how we feel. Not just the good things, the happy things. And yeah, it is important to show appreciation for the things that people in our lives do for us, and say, like, I appreciate when you cook me dinner. And that's a simple but powerful thing. But when those aren't as hard to talk about, I don't think, as it is to say, like, I feel bad when you say this kind of thing, when you make a sarcastic comment. Like, I definitely do that a lot. But I try to be more playful about it, and I try to be more aware. But maybe somebody gets their feelings hurt when I make sarcastic comments towards them. And that's something that I would want to be aware of. And I would try to catch myself more about being sarcastic with them. And it's how we grow, and it's how we learn. And we deny ourselves these opportunities so much. But I I encourage you all to just talk to each other. What's on your mind? And and what can you do to make your relationships healthier? How can you communicate more effectively? Maybe you feel like the communication is more one-sided, and you can say, well, hey, do you want some time to talk? Is there anything on your mind that you want to talk about? Or maybe you feel like somebody's a bit more guarded, and you can say, I would really appreciate if you opened up to me, because I don't know how you're feeling, and I want to know, and I want to be an important part of your life. And you can, there's so many different things you can say. And I just want to encourage you all to talk to each other. Have those important conversations. Just start. It can be scary, but once you get the ball rolling, I think the anxiety can go away, and we can have healthier relationships, and even with ourselves. And I think I will talk about that in the future, our self-talk, because that is important as well. But I'll save that for another time, and I want to hear from you. Let me know ways that you like to start conversations, and what are some important conversations to have in general. I mean, you don't have to be very specific. We can all be private people, but definitely, what do you think about all of this? Do you feel like conversation is important, or maybe you think I'm full of shit and you don't think it's that important to talk to people? I want to hear your opinions. Let's start a dialogue about conversations and how they can be. So let me know, and I will see you all next time. Bye.